exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. Now listen to me. You can hear me at 11 a.m. and if you miss me then, well, you can catch me at 6 p.m. on the way home. We're going to share with you strategies and techniques on how you can begin to live your greatness, how you can begin to make the things happen in your life and live a life that matters, a life that will allow you to make a greater impact. This is your time. You were born and preserved for such a time as this. Make sure you listen exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580 in the morning at 11 a.m. and in the evening, if you miss me on the way home, you can listen at 6 p.m. This is your time. You have something special. You have greatness in you. We're going to share with you how you can leap and grow your wings on the way down. Take a chance on you. Bet on you and your dreams. This is your time. This is your moment. Make sure you join me. Don't you miss an episode because this is going to change your life. Yes, on KBLA Talk 1580. Oh yes, you got to be hungry. I'll be looking for you.
First things first.
First is the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule. 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not too serious. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DiPrima go way back. Tavis Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DiPrima. Go sis. Go sis. Go sis.
First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning and God bless. Happy Friday. I'm Dominique DiPrima. The show is called First Things First. My first thing each and every day, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, the elders, and you, and getting it started, getting it going. We, as always, have a lot to talk about. Hour one, it's town business. Hour two, we go national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest in the spirit of Fun Friday. That's right, it's back for 2023. We are welcoming in our third hour today, comedian Ray Grady. He always brings it, and looking forward to the conversation. Hope you'll join us then. As usual, you're invited in every hour. No deviation from that today. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. Anytime you feel like it. And of course, in hour three, I encourage the extra, whatever you have on your mind, whatever you have on your heart kind of energy. Did you hear Tavis Smiley's conversation with the chief of police of the city of Los Angeles on yesterday? I would love to get your thoughts, your reactions, your hot takes on that. 800-920-1580. Over the years, I would say I have interviewed many a police chief in this West Coast, Los Angeles, Southern California arena. I would also point out that next week, on Wednesday, the sheriff will be in with Tavis, so you can check out the new sheriff as we're looking at the veteran, I should say, police chief. He's been on this, job for some time, but has asked for another 5-year term. And Tavis asked the tough questions. If you missed it, you can go to our podcast or wherever you get your podcast, or our app, which is KBLA 1580. Hopefully you already have it on your phone. It's a great way to support your favorite one and only Black-owned talk radio station of the West Coast, really of this half of the country, and one of only 5 in the nation, I might add. the chief, he pushed back on a lot of the reasons that people have been giving why he should not be reappointed. Black Lives Matter Los Angeles and other activist groups and individuals calling for a new chief, a refresh, a do-over, a new chief to go with a new administration. I am not always one to quickly jump on bandwagons about getting rid of chiefs. I can't say that. It's only really been an issue 3 times since I've been in LA. Once was when Chief Parks was pushed out of his position, which caused a ripple effect in Black LA, and I think it was part of the reason why Antonio Villaraigosa ended up being elected mayor. The other, of course, Chief Beck, who Black Lives Matter protested for months and months in front of City Hall, calling for him to be fired. He was not fired, but ultimately stepped down, and now there is a petition and an effort to remove, I shouldn't say remove, not reappoint Chief Michael Moore. He talked about a lot of things. One of the things I found most sort of interesting, because whenever you talk to police officials or intelligence officials, they usually stick to the talking points. They're really disciplined about sticking to the press release. And so it's hard to get new information. It's hard to get through all of the material the questions that you had planned or thought of. And one of the things that, really gave me that moment was when he talked about removing the thin blue line flag, which he was adamant is not the same as a Blue Lives Matter flag, and addressed sort of he didn't say this, but the white supremacy associated with the Blue Lives Matter flag. He called it, what did he call it? Extremism or polarization, something like that. Anyway, he walked a fine line of saying, well, yes, I've asked that they not have it in police stations and official buildings, but I still have it at my house. The thin blue line, he said, stands for support of police. Yeah, I think that's a way of saying, yes, I stand behind my rank and file and I'm really with you guys, but I don't want anyone to feel uncomfortable, so we're going to take this flag down because it's become associated with white supremacy. For me, it's like trying to have it both ways. I'm down with the current agenda and culture of the LAPD, which includes killing 3 black two black people and 1 Latina person in the first week of the year. But I'm down with that culture, but I'm also going to give you some signals that I'm trying to change the culture, i.e., you can't have that at the police station, but whatever you do in your home. And the other thing that I found very revealing, we'll talk about it when we come forward, is Chief Moore's answer when Tavis Smiley asked him why he didn't want to release the names of the LAPD officers who were involved with the January 6th attempted coup at the U.S. Capitol. That was quite interesting and revealing to me. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and there's a whole bunch more stuff that we can touch on today. There's a lot going on. As usual, here in L.A. and across the country, giving me a call, 800-920-1580. This is KBLA Talk 1580, and as always, we're unapologetically progressive.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Central Neighborhood Health Foundation is a full-service network of federally qualified health care centers that serves local communities throughout Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. CNHF clinics provide low-cost to no-cost, compassionate, comprehensive, quality health care, which includes primary care services for chronic disease and diabetes management, pediatric and women's services, preventive care, vision and dental screenings, COVID-19 testing and vaccines, flu vaccines, behavioral health, HIV, and substance use services. Virtual telehealth visits are available from the comfort of your home with highly qualified physicians and medical professionals. CNHF also provides peer support specialist training and help with housing navigation. Central Neighborhood Health Foundation. Your wellness is our priority. Comprehensive care built on trust and respect. For more information, visit cnhfclinics.org or call 213-536-5815 today to locate a clinic near you.
Confession. I'm a hopeless romantic, and I love a deal. I just went to Kohl's and earned Kohl's Cash, plus got an extra 15% off already great deals, like 60% off a necklace for my mom and 40% off PJs for my daughter. Not to mention, I found myself a fragrance set from Sephora at Kohl's for less than $50. With more gifts and more savings, what's not to love? Select styles. Offers end January 29th. Sephora, coupons, and Kohl's Cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Let's be real. Mopping is a hassle. You have to fill the bucket, pushing a wet, heavy mop around, then cleaning the mop when you're done so it doesn't grow bacteria. A hassle on top of a hassle. Try Swiffer Wet Jet. With Swiffer Wet Jet, you start with a fresh pad and cleaning solution every time. And when you're done, you just toss the pad. Swiffer Wet Jet, the faster, easier, cleaner way to clean your floors.
Paid by Up-Level Rewards.
Hey, where did you get all that cash?
You mean this $750?
Yes, that $750. Where did you get all that cash?
Since it's January, I went to JanuaryCash45.com and got $750.
You got $750?
Yes. Just go to JanuaryCash45.com this month and follow the simple instructions on the site. Once you finish, the $750 is yours.
It's that easy to get $750?
It's January, so yes. You just answer the basic questions on the site, pick from the deals they show you, and get $750 sent to you by direct deposit or any of the major money apps like Venmo or PayPal.
I'm always short on cash. I'm going to JanuaryCash45.com right now to get my $750.
Ready to get your $750 in January? Get started right now at JanuaryCash45.com. So go to JanuaryCash45.com. Just go to JanuaryCash45.com. Follow the simple instructions and get your $750 fast and easy. Go to JanuaryCash45.com. That's JanuaryCash45.com. It's January. Don't wait. Go to JanuaryCash45.com. JanuaryCash45.com. JanuaryCash45.com.
We are so touched. You all made the trek out here.
Robert, Renata, we hope our marriage is nothing like yours.
Cheers, everybody.
From the director of Pitch Perfect and the producers of The Proposal.
Something doesn't feel right.
They're pirates, and they took everybody hostage.
Jennifer Lopez, Josh Duhamel.
This is not happening.
Pirates chasing you wasn't on your vision board?
You're the only thing on my vision board.
Shotgun Wedding, rated R, January 27th on Prime Video.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DiPrima right now.
Man, it's Friday. Happy about that. But we are, in Los Angeles, we are at a kind of a crossroads because there's so many things going on right now that seem to point to change, right? That's how I feel. I feel like at the same moment that you have been blessed with an unapologetically progressive radio station, we're now looking at a more progressive city council, I would say a more progressive mayor. Well, not I would say, I do say. And so what we're looking at now is a much more fertile ground for change. To me, that is a reason to pivot, to go with a new police chief. And, there's other reasons too, right? We can list them. One of the most highly cited is the authorization of that detonation of bootleg fireworks that wiped out an entire neighborhood, and which resulted in deaths, and which cost the city literally millions of dollars, and some folks still not back in their homes. To me, the presumption of getting on an email and saying, I have the support of the mayor, before you've been authorized by the mayor's office to do so, that is a breach of protocol, and to me, it's an encroachment on the authority of a black woman, the first ever black woman to be mayor of this city. I have a problem with that. to me, it just, it shows a lack of, well, respect, really. The fact that we have had 3 killings of men of color, BIPOC men, 2 African Americans, and a Latine man, and yet you don't push back on the letter that was sent by the Los Angeles Police Protective League, as they call themselves, which is the union for LAPD, when they actually blame the victims for their own murders. What the letter says, after long rambling justification, and this is how mental health units work. They say, that the mental health workers never would have been there until the scene was secure. They blame the victims for escalating the situation. But who's trained in de-escalation? And if I'm the chief, if you're my chief, I need you to make some differentiation from your position and the position of the Protective League, what I call cartel, or what they call a union, because it's problematic. And the Police Protective League, to me, their letter, which blames the victims and says that they're the ones that escalated the situation, is ridiculous, because those people are members of the public. You are the professional that's meant to know de-escalation. And so it's stupid to say the client de-escalated this situation. That would be like me saying the listeners don't know how to do radio. Yeah, well, that's your job, Dominique. You see, and so that's a ridiculous argument. And to me, for them to say, oh, well, the mental health units would never have been there. Well, then we need to change the way we deploy our mental health units, not blame the victims. That's not the outcome. The attack on council member Marquise Harris Dawson for putting forth this motion, this study, which is meant to lead to taking armed law enforcement out of traffic stops. Then Chief Moore says that Dawson and the Harris Dawson is conflating traffic accidents with traffic stops. And then the police cartel letter proceeds to do exactly that, to try to conflate the two, to make it seem like a car chase, someone fleeing police, or a serious accident, hit and run, drive-by, is the same as getting pulled over for a ticket, which it's absolutely not. And that's what Councilmember Harris Dawson and others who advocate for this policy are talking about. They're not talking about, your police chase and your, at least not at this point. We're talking about your taillight is out, you get pulled over, you end up dead. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Sandra Blands, the Dijon Kazis, and yes, the Keenan Andersons. That's what we're talking about. That is not the same as someone, on a police chase, which I think should be illegal anyway, because they endanger pedestrians and other cars, and you have helicopters, just chase the person until they run out of gas. But that's not what we're talking about. What Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson and others have put forth is Department of Transportation or some other agency, not armed cops, pull you over if you have dice hanging from your mirror or a license plate violation, so that those encounters don't become deadly encounters, especially since people of color, black, brown people in particular, and black people most of all, are pulled over more than anyone else. Well, in the interview with Tavis, Chief Moore says, oh, well, we already have created this policy to ban or decrease pretextual stops, which is when they go on fishing expeditions and they stop you for tinted windows and then end up searching you and you go to jail for something else. Which is ironic, because white folks are 5 times more likely, white folks driving in South LA are 5 times more likely to have contraband, i.e. guns and drugs, than we are, but we are the ones that are getting stopped. So, great. I'm glad you have this policy that's meant to reduce pretextual stops. He claims they're down by 50%. I haven't seen the data, but that's still too many. And it's too many to be encounters where every single time we have to pray for the life of that person over a tail light. Let's go to Willie calling us from Palmdale. Good morning, Willie.
Good morning, Dominique. I was thinking, like they have the ROTC at the schools and stuff. How come? And like they have the PCC, police cadets. I was wondering why they don't have it in high school and then pay for the college education free, so that there won't be no stress on the cadets. Because he said they get 51% of the city budget after it's drained down. They get 51%, and the commissioner, they pay everything. I wonder why they don't pay for the cadets, so they won't have to worry about school debt while they training to be police officers.
I don't know about that. I don't feel qualified to answer that because I don't know how police training works. Does it even accrue debt to the trainee? I'm not familiar with that. I can look into it, but I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. But I can tell you were listening though, Willie, because the chief of police did try to make the case that if you include the Department of Water and Power, which is a totally separate agency, even though it's affiliated with the city, then we don't get 50%. If this, then that. So what he was trying to say is that we're really not 51% of the budget because we should be including all of these other agencies and dollars in our calculations, not the general fund. Okay, creative math, but whatever the point is, to me, 51% of the general fund, which is the amount of money we have to spend on stuff the people of LA need, that's not dedicated, that's not already part of a separate agency, i.e. the DWP, is going to LAPD. And that's a lot. It's arguably way too much.
Another thing about having police is pulling people over that's not armed. It's just like when Tavis Smiley had the lady ex-police officer on. She said, you don't know if you're pulling over a bank robber or something. So why don't they just do like take a picture of it and send it to the people's house? Yeah, well, okay, that's one option. I mean, they're looking at how you do that now, Willie. But of course they're going to say that. Well, and they're not talking about unarmed police pulling people over, to be clear. They're talking about taking it out of the police department. In Berkeley, they're making a completely separate civilian agency that deals with things like taillights. And, other people are looking at other ways of doing it. Here we're talking about maybe Department of Transportation handling it, completely apart from the police department. So it wouldn't be unarmed cops. It would be civilians. And so if you did pull over a bank robber for a taillight, it's not going to escalate because there's no armed officer involved in that interaction. That's the theory. It's KBLA Talk 1580. We are unapologetically progressive.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. More details are being revealed about an effort by Chicago Mayor African-American Lori Lightfoot's re-election campaign to recruit student volunteers. Emails show a Chicago public school official informed Lightfoot's campaign team that it can't recruit students for political work. The information was passed along hours before the mayor's campaign released a statement defending its recruitment effort as common practice. Lightfoot has since apologized. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi isn't sure she's going to watch body camera footage from the attack on her husband last year. Paul Pelosi was beaten in the couple's San Francisco home in October when a man broke in and beat him with a hammer. The footage from an officer who responded to the attack is expected to be released today. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Jackson Hewitt gets you your biggest tax refund guaranteed, plus a chance to double your refund or win weekly prizes with their Double Your Refund sweepstakes. File your taxes on the double. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Ends 4/2/23.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers cruised to a 38-point win over San Antonio last night. 4th straight win for the Clippers, their longest of the season. 35 points and 7 assists for Paul George. Kawhi Leonard also had 7 assists. He finished with 27 points. LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo will be captains of their teams in the February 19th NBA All-Star Game in Salt Lake City. LeBron and Giannis will pick their rosters an hour before the game, a new twist by the NBA that gives the All-Star Game a playground feel. USC's men's basketball team upset 8th-ranked UCLA. The Trojans beat the Bruins by 13. A career-high 31 points for Trojans guard Boogie Ellis. He dropped 27 of those in the second half. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. Stay with us for more news, opinions, and conversation on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, Maisha Cairo here, KBLA, live at Chase Bank on Crenshaw and Vernon for the In This Together tour with female business owners, a day of empowerment, community panels, and best of all, tips on building business from marketing to capital. I was able to speak with Kate Luzio, former banking executive and now owner of Luminary, who partnered with Chase for this tour. She makes it her business to build community for business owners.
Yes, so I was a banker for 20 years before I decided to become an entrepreneur. 7 of those years were actually at JP Morgan Chase. One of the biggest things that I had going into my entrepreneurial journey was a big background in banking.
So what advice are you giving business owners looking for financial backing today?
So Chase brings in so much knowledge and the opportunity to understand what financial tools are out there for business owners to build, grow, and scale their business. A lot of business owners will say, well, I need to get a loan immediately. Well, you wouldn't just lend money to your friend if you didn't know why they needed it. I tell every business owner, you need a business plan, you need financial projections, you need a banker. Because you have to start building a relationship with a banker so that they get comfortable with how you're going to build that business and so that they can eventually support you in different ways.
Makes sense. So visit the Chase Community Center on Crenshaw and Vernon. Meet a banker today. Tell them about your business. I'm Maisha Cairo in the community for KBLA with JP Morgan Chase.
Our Weekly Los Angeles is the largest audited black newspaper in the state of California with a distribution of over 50,000 copies weekly. Pick up a copy every Thursday to get the latest news on African American communities of LA. You can also keep up with what's going on in Los Angeles and surrounding cities by going to www.ourweekly.com. The Our Weekly website is updated daily with the current news about us and for us. For your advertising needs, Our Weekly offers economical advertising packages to fit your budget. Feel free to call Our Weekly Los Angeles at 323-905-1300 or visit the website at www.ourweekly.com. Our Weekly Los Angeles, reporting news that matters to you.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I'm over here trying to see if there's somewhere I can sit in this studio that makes the lighting look better on YouTube so I can oh, that looks cute. No. Anyway, we are streaming live on YouTube if you want to check it out. No amount of makeup seems to help, but it's youtube.com. Then you put KBLA 1580 and you will see me right now by myself. But we are expecting comedian Ray Grady in the last hour of the show, and it is so much fun to talk with him. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking with you as well. 800-920-1580. 800-920-1580. You know you're welcome to talk about whatever you like, but I was sort of unpacking what I took away from the interview between Tavis Smiley and Chief Michael Moore of the LAPD on yesterday, and how it plays in or factors into whether or not he'll be reappointed for another 5-year term. Let's go to Howard calling us from Watts. Good morning.
Oh, thank you for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yep, you sound great.
Oh, good. I heard the interview. I definitely want to hear it. I was disappointed in the fact that he gave a lot of stats that didn't make any sense. And one stat you told me gave that how the police is justified all that money they're getting. They can use that money for something else because we got enough police out here. And if anything, it's not so much training, but we got to figure out a way to change the culture because these guys, you got these white boys from the valley coming down here and watch. They don't interact with us. Only time they come down here, they don't live here. And it's like an occupational army anyway. So I didn't like his interview. I didn't like his tone at all. And in a way, I wasted my time because I heard that before. He didn't tell me nothing I didn't know. Another thing that's been in my heart, Dominique, I'm changing the subject on you a little bit. I'm down there and watching a lot of guys be at the park playing dominoes. I go by there every now and then, and especially when I first retired, go down there a lot, just kick it with them and chop it up. And we're all getting older now. A lot of guys are coming up are crossing over, and in the last couple of months, a few people that I was kind of close to crossed over, and I want to acknowledge them. And I was thinking about going there one day with a bottle of wine and doing some libations for the brothers, because then we won't forget them. A lot of guys are crossed over and things. I want to remember them in my own way, because they were good friends of mine. Well, I don't have too many friends, but good acquaintances and everything. We all grew up together around the hood. And I called the African American Culture Center yesterday to maybe have somebody guide me on how to do a proper libation. I want to do it right for these brothers. I've done it before, but I didn't know it was done right. I did it in my class reunion and my family reunions, and say a few words to people that are there with us, that we grew up with and went to school with. And I did call, and I got a message, and I was hoping they called me back. But if one of the listeners can call in and tell me how to do a proper libation for our people.
Well, you know what? That's something you could check in with Black Lives Matter about, because they do libations at every single one of their marches and events. But I will say this: the main thing about libations is doing it from the heart, and I know you'll do that. I mean, they usually say a prayer and then pour out some water, some liquor. For a lot of people use water, and then just say a prayer for the ones that are crossed over, as you say, who have made their transitions, and say their names. And that's usually the gist of it. Some light a candle, bring flowers, and remember their names. And it sounds like a great way to make sure they're not forgotten, but also for you to sort of express some of the feelings that you have going on watching folks leave the building. It does seem like every year, at the end of the year, a lot more people die. And I know it's true that during the holidays we have more heart attacks, more stress, more stroke. So people who have been, even though there's a lot of joy too, people have been just hanging on, sometimes cross over. But, I don't know. For some reason, it always seems like more people are making their transition at this time of year. And so I think it's great that you're finding a way to process those feelings and the sadness.
Yeah, like we all grew up watching like a little community within itself. We all grew up. We are older now. Like my thing is, I was in the 12th grade, going to the 12th grade when the watch riots happened. So I remember the riots. My dad told me nothing about the riots. And one thing about
you're talking about the 1960s.
Yeah, 60s. I'm not old, Dominic.
I mean, I wasn't saying you were old. I'm just making sure you're not talking about 92 civil unrest. You're talking about Watts uprising, what, 1965, is that?
Yeah. I was 17 when we went down.
Wow, okay.
It was a different feeling back then.
Yeah.
I remember Gregory got shot. He got shot out there. I remember the whole scene. I remember when Dr. Martin Luther King came to Westminster Neighborhood Association. I told him to go back to Atlanta because we were in the crowd. I was 17. I got drafted 3 years later to possibly go fight in Vietnam. What the hell I'm going to fight in Vietnam for? And my fight is here in America. If I have to sacrifice blood, I'm going to sacrifice for my people right here in America. Now, as old as I am, I'm still feeling that way. I still feel that way. That's my feelings.
Well,
maybe some guys went.
but you did go to Vietnam, right? I mean, you did.
No, I did. The reason why I'm here is because I didn't go.
Oh,
I
wow.
got lucky to March Air Force Base, and I did that, and it was a blessing. God is good, He
So
watched out for me
you
in that
served in the military, but you didn't go into active duty in Vietnam.
No, I did all my time stateside near home.
Wow. Well, thank you for your service, and regardless, but yeah, I mean that must have been an insane kind of feeling, because I mean I've talked to other, especially activists about it who were of military service age during that time, and just this whole story of Muhammad Ali, where you're in the middle of a real struggle, a real battle for freedom, for black liberation here in the United States, and then you're being asked to serve the country that doesn't even want to give you your rights on a battlefield against in what was not a just war. I mean, if you listen, even back at that time, Dr. Martin Luther King and others were pointing out the problems and the ironies of the war in Vietnam. So that must have been a terrible choice to make.
Well, it was one thing I can say about my service. It lightened me. Well, I had an easy job. I had a desk job, and what it did for me, I was in there when all this social evil going on, and what it did for, it gave me time to sit back and read and observe. I read a whole lot then. I don't read nearly as much as I do then I do now. And it gave me an insight. I read all kind of books and stuff, Angela Davis, George Jackson, Malcolm. It was the second time around for Malcolm. I read that when I got to high school. Martin Luther King. You name the authors, I read a lot of. Iceberg Slim, I read some of his books, very interesting. And one thing about it was very interesting. I didn't go over there, but I had heard all the fascinating stories about how the Vietnamese treated black people. They showed us love. Well, they could. They really did. I know a lot of guys who told me, man, this is what's happening over there. I know one guy said, hey, soul brother, go home. This ain't your war. I know another guy, when he came in, he told me that the Vietnamese let the black people know when they were going to attack the base. I said, really? They said, we'll go get a room off base. I said, why do you do that? Hey, man, they can handle our little pea shooters. They want to handle the F-4C fighter bombers and attack helicopters. That's what they want to get hold to keep them from dropping napalm on us. All kind of fascinating stories. I'll tell you this fascinating story before I go. I heard this about 5 years ago. This guy, he worked at the post office. We chopped it up and found different things about each other. And he told me he was a scout in Vietnam.
Wow.
He was out there scouting. And he was out there scouting around. He ran across a Vietnamese soldier. You know what happened when he did? The Vietnamese soldier pulled out a joint and fired up a joint with the brother.
That's wild. Well, I've seen those kind of things in the movies, but of course not in real life. Appreciate your sharing your story with us, Howard, and taking us on that journey back in time with you. You're welcome to call in, always 800-920-1580, just like Howard did. What is going on with the LA County rent moratorium? Eviction, I should say. We'll cover that when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where we turn red lights to green lights and keep it moving.
Open enrollment for Covered California happening now. Maisha Cairo here with your K-Black Minute News, brought to you by CaliforniaBlackMedia.org. This year marks the 10th open enrollment period under the Affordable Care Act, which has helped millions of Americans get quality health insurance. And remember, Californians will need to sign up before January 31st. What is Covered California, you ask? It's affordable, high-quality insurance from top insurance companies. Covered California is the only place where individuals who qualify can get financial assistance on a sliding scale to reduce premium costs. And depending on income, some consumers may qualify for the low-cost or no-cost Medi-Cal program. For more information about Covered California, you can visit coveredca.com. I'm Maisha Cairo for KBLA 1580. We are unapologetically progressive.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima. You may think it's too early, but tax season is now. Whether you're filing individual or business taxes, there are benefits to filing your taxes. You can qualify for loans and grants, improve your credit profile, and get into compliance with the IRS. Who files early gets refunded early, and there are lots of legit ways to boost your tax refund in 2023. The tax professionals at Wealth Management Financial Advisors will find every credit and deduction you deserve so you get your largest possible refund. I'm not kidding. You could double your refund just by filing at Wealth Management Financial Advisors. Big chain tax filing companies use a one-size-fits-all formula that leaves money on the table. Don't wait until recession or procrastination take a bite out of your budget. Book an appointment now at wealthmanagementlb.com or by calling 562-427-8877. That's 562-427-8877. Visit wealthmanagementlb.com.
LA, get ready to experience the best dramedy of the year. Michael Coleman presents My Wife, Your Woman, live on stage Saturday, January 28th, 8 p.m. at the Wilshire Ebell Theater. Get your tickets now at mcslive.net. My Wife, Your Woman. Emotions spiral out of control when Kim decides to break off her passionate affair when her husband returns home early from war. Get your tickets now at mcslive.net. My Wife, Your Woman.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
Yes, indeed, and we always are glad to have you with us. The Board of Supervisors this week on Tuesday actually extended the tenant protections against eviction that were tied to the pandemic, to COVID-19. So that means 2 more months for folks that are behind on their rent that are within LA County. They said that they will not be extending it again. So whatever you need to do, make a deal with your landlord, find a way to get caught up, move, whatever it is you need to do, you got to do it now. I think it's really unlikely that they'll re-up it again. The LA City Council passed protections for renters but did not extend, and that's a pretty progressive LA City Councils. So I just don't see it getting extended again. Supervisor Solis and Supervisor Horvath originally said let's extend till June, but the board chair, now the new board chair, Janice Hahn, said she's not going to support that long of an extension, and there was controversy around it. So the compromise was March 31st. So you now have till March 31st. And, you know, I agree. We're still being impacted by COVID-19. I also understand, especially the mom and pop landlords who say, hey, I cannot carry this burden forever. What was smart is they established a $45 million relief fund for small landlords like that who haven't been able to get rent from their tenants and need to pay their mortgages. And, you know, I hope that those funds will not end up going to any corporate landlords, because certainly there are tons of retirees, mom and pop, people of color who saved for a long time to get that duplex or that apartment building, and it is their retirement. It is their retirement plan. It's very common in South LA. But at the same time, we don't want floods of people coming out into the streets evicted right when the mayor of Los Angeles is undertaking this huge effort to try to get people off the streets to safety. Let's go to Sharonda calling us from Inglewood. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, Dominique. I just wanted to say that I felt like, of course, Tavis, I listened to the interview yesterday, and of course, Tavis is amazing, but I felt like he should have been tougher. You know, the guy, I felt like the he came in with prepared remarks. You know, I felt like he was a robot. Tavis kind of let him go on a little too long in the beginning. He was kind of rambling. I just didn't care for the interview, and I also feel like anyone who made us doubt, who made us question their leadership, their loyalty to our democracy, our city, our Black Lives Matter movement, they should never be considered. I want him out. He's a liar. He's deflecting. You know, I just don't like how they come to us when it's time to reelect. You know, even Biden, you know, now he's, you know, going to the, you know, the breath. Biden has been silent. The least they could have did, him and Kamala, is use the bully pulpit all the time to demand to protect voting rights. I understand they can't do much, you know, legislatively, but every day they should have been banging that bully pulpit about voting, protecting the right to vote, and reforming police. Even if they can't do nothing, they should have been harassing, just like the Republicans are vocal and lying, evil demons. Biden and our DNC, Jamie Harrison, they all should have been constantly, they should have been just like the Republicans and still on the bully pulpit, even if they can't do nothing to protect the right to vote, demanding it, you know, protecting the right to vote, police reform, you know, and now, and there's like 20 Republicans in the House that are in Biden one district. There's no way they should not be harassing those Republicans, you know what I'm saying, to join with them to pass, you know, police reform, the right to vote, because we got it in the Senate. I mean, hopefully, you know, you don't know, but so that's just what I want to say. I just felt like Tavis wasn't really like, did he ask him, I could be wrong, did he ask him about coming out before Karen Bass about her you know, wanting him, you know, to stay in the position? I don't know. I was at work, so I don't know if Tavis asked that question, but he just seemed like, I didn't feel he was genuine. And that Blue Lives Matter stuff, we all know what that means, especially if you carry it home with you. And then also I just wanted to know, what's up with, like, the De Leon guy? Have Black Lives Matter? Because I've been trying to follow it and support that. Like, I just felt like it went silent. And
no,
he's trying to get away with
yeah,
it.
no, boy, you brought up a lot of really great stuff. Sharonda, can you stay with me? Because I want to talk to you about these things. And, you know, you've brought up some points that definitely deserve more attention. If you can stay with me, do. And in either case, we're talking about the things Sharonda has put on the table when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Courage is contagious. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Everyone needs health insurance, and you can sign up for it through Cover California. It's a free service from the state that helps you find and pay for health insurance. We work with brand name companies to offer quality plans that cover preventive care, doctor visits, emergency care, and more. You'll even be able to find out how much financial help is available for you. Many who enroll with us pay as low as $0 per month. Regardless of how much you make, you should go to coveredca.com and see how we can help you. Cover California, this way to health insurance. Enrollment ends January 31st.
KBLA Talk 1580 is growing at a phenomenal pace, and we need to enlarge our territory. We are seeking smart, creative solution providers to join the KBLA delegation and go higher with us. If you or someone you know is interested in joining our team as a brand manager, go to our website at KBLA1580.com. Tap on employment opportunities and let us hear from you. We're not looking for everybody or just anybody, but you could be that special somebody. Come grow with us. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Every school day was a vaping day for me. It wasn't a social thing anymore. Suddenly it became something I was doing independently every day. Recently, I was sitting next to somebody on the freeway, and I saw them vaping. I was like, wow, is that what I look like? And that didn't sit too well with me. That image has been a big motivation to quit.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text I Can Quit to 66819 today.
Periods don't care what you're doing, but your pad should. Get Always Triple Protection System in Always Day and Night Pads. Always Day Pads protect when active by wicking away gushes 2 times faster than leading store brands and giving us up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort. When we size up our pad at night, we get the same triple protection, plus up to 75% more coverage in the back for when we're laying down. No matter what, Always has you covered, day and night.
Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
Yes, indeed. Sharonda, you started out talking about the interview between Tavis Smiley and Chief Michael Moore. And I know what you mean. That's why I started out saying that I have interviewed many a police chief, and it's hard because they are like robots. They are trained. I don't know if it's, in the case of a Bernard Parks, he went to the FBI Academy. I don't know all of Moore's training background, but they are taught to stick to the press release, stick to the talking points, say the same thing over and over again, and run out the clock. That's what they do, and it's really hard to interview them because you're going to be interrupting them every 10 seconds, and then when you interrupt them with a question that you want to ask, they're more than likely they're just going to go into another set of talking points and start saying the same thing over and over again. And it's like, I don't want to quite call it gaslighting because they're saying things, but it's not necessarily directly answering your question, and it's very difficult to get anything unexpected in those interviews. I'm not trying to make excuses for Tavis, just I've been in that seat, and I know what you're talking about. They just like going on and on, but not answering the question. But what you said about when Tavis asked Chief Moore about January 6th, right? Why won't you release the names of the officers that participated in the January 6th attack? He made this sort of, splitting hairs distinction of saying none of our officers were part of the 1-6 insurrection. That's what he said. He said there were 4 officers, members of the police department, who were at the rally, right, with Trump. But he was making this distinction, saying they have a right to be at that rally. That's their democratic right. But we know for sure because of our tracking and blah, 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 that they weren't at the actual Capitol. Number one, I need proof of that. You can't just say that. I need to know that for sure. I need to see a transparent investigation. And number two, he says, well, they have a right to be at the Trump rally at the Capitol. As citizens, yes. As officers of the law, I don't know. I think it's problematic. Just like I have a free speech right to be with a white supremacist group or put that stuff on my social media. Yeah, maybe technically you do. But when it comes to being a trusted partner with the community, being able to protect and serve all citizens, being able to perform your job in an unbiased manner, having any credibility whatsoever as someone who has the best interests of the community at heart, no, you really don't. Sharonda, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I'm passing the mic back to you because I thought you might have something to say about that.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. I just respect your knowledge, and I know I was kind of just rambling. But, no, I definitely agree with you, Dominique, and my feelings are just really hurt because I just feel like anyone who made us question that their support for 45, I call them the Orange Demon, I just feel like they need to be out. And I don't understand, Dominique, how we have a black VP. And like I said, I hate to repeat myself, but I don't understand why they can't at least get on Twitter. Their bet, table issues or whatever, what they're trying to tout, that means nothing if we have no democracy. That means all this legislation they're passing, we have to protect the right to vote. We have to protect police,
Yeah, I don't think you're rambling. I think you're passionate, and I think that's good. We have to be passionate if we want to, get serious about saving our democracy. I think that you're right. They could use the bully pulpit more. I don't think it's right that that the Biden administration has not done anything. They have done some things through executive action for voting and police reform. Is it enough? No, absolutely not at all. Do they need to use the bully pulpit more? I think you're right about that. We can continue this conversation when we come forward because we're all in the freestyle phones on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. More details